Welcome everyone, Sierra Nova here, and we're going to be doing an anime review on Bastard. So I tried my best not to judge this anime off of the cover. Based on the cover alone, I felt like this would be a pervy anime, but because I'll never truly know unless I give it a chance, I tried it out. I'd like to say that I was right on the money. Before we get into deep, let me start off by saying that this is a Netflix anime series, and it's basically about a 400-year-old wizard named Dark Schneider and his adventures. Now, Dark Schneider was actually sealed away for 15 years, but then you have this high priest by the name of Geo that was pretty desperate to save his people, so he got his daughter to unleash the very thing he helped seal, who might I add was the founding leader of the Dark Rebel Army. Apparently, he was sealed into a baby known as Lucian, and the only way to break the seal was the kiss of a virgin and an incantation. So the part where he was sealed into a baby definitely reminds me of Naruto Uzumaki from Naruto, except Naruto had something sealed into him instead. So let's start simple. As for the plot, I don't think the plot is bad. I think the plot is actually okay. I don't know about anyone else, but one of the things that determine if I watch an anime or not has to do with the plot. If the plot is bad or doesn't really do a good job of generally describing what's going on, it can be harder to pull in attention of viewers, especially for me. I mean, I know I usually won't invest further than that at times, but this is also where the trailer comes in, as sometimes the trailer can bring more life to things when words cannot. However, the trailer didn't really do much justice for it either, but I don't mind the adventure aspect. I personally think that makes things exciting, and I really enjoyed that in this case. Now for the animation. Animation is also pretty important to me and will usually make or break an anime for me. Now it's great here and I have no problems with it, but Seven Deadly Sins, for example, kinda lost me when the animation started going south, and I haven't returned to it since. I mean, I can deal with animation lacking a little bit, like how it was during the Naruto vs. Pain fight. That's pretty tolerable, but if it's more consistent and not so far and few in between, that's where I begin to draw the line. With Bastard, the animation is consistently good, and I don't really have any complaints about the animation at all. Alright, so let's talk a little bit more about the characters. So our main character is Dark Schneider, and he's a pretty powerful wizard. Not too much is known about his origin, but it is said that his earliest known appearance was 400 years before the beginning of the series. This was when a destruction god of darkness and his army destroyed the old world. Now Dark Schneider has quite the personality, and he has a pretty big ego to boot. More importantly, he's a massive perv. Like a massive perv. He makes Jiraiya look like a saint, and honestly, I can deal with fan service here and there. I mean, I get that it's a part of anime, and it doesn't really bother me as long as it's not in my face every 5 seconds or feels overbearing. But the fan service here was ridiculous and kind of ruined things from time to time. For example, any fight scene that Dark Schneider had against a woman immediately had me rolling my eyes. Like, this man was worse than Sanji from One Piece, and I actually enjoy Sanji as a character. I used to think that Sanji had a problem with women, but Dark Schneider, he takes the cake. But moving on, it was really hard to enjoy the fights between Dark Schneider and any woman because it became pretty predictable pretty quickly. A woman would show up, talking big and claiming that she was going to take him down, only to be groped by him and smooth talked effortlessly. And then the best part, of course, is that they would end up falling in love with Dark Schneider. We've seen this happen at least 3 times, with Sean Ari, Kai, and Archer's Nay. Now I will say that Kai did a whole lot better than Sean because Sean Ari went out pretty quick. Dark Schneider turned her so quickly I couldn't believe it, and I was a bit disappointed. I mean, she was supposed to be one of the 3 sorcerer generals under the Thunder Empress Archer's Nay, and she did not live up to her name at all. She did away with her loyalty to Archer's like it was nothing. You would think that a general could be trusted a lot more. Kai did a lot better than Sean because we had no idea that she was a woman at first because of her armor. Plus the fight was actually good initially. However, as soon as she lost her armor, all logic went out the window and she too fell at his feet. Later on, as the series continues, we learn more about Archer's Nay and the relationship that they had, which was kinda weird. For starters, they refer to each other as father and daughter, but they're very handsy and even had a whole relationship at one point. but due to being such a massive perv, he basically stepped out and kept getting involved with multiple and other women. Now, I don't know about y'all, but that's not behavior I participate in. I'm not romantically involved with anyone I call family. That's just weird. It baffled me that Dark Schneider could sit there and boast about how he raised her and how he's basically her father, yet constantly gropes her and was involved with her at one point. It'd be less cringe if they left that out and didn't go that route. Anyway, the man is a huge player and is completely arrogant and full of himself. He clearly let his looks go to his head. Secondly, if Archesnay knew of Dark Schneider's problem with women, why did she send her female generals after him? Surely she should have seen their betrayal coming a mile away. And we can't forget about Princess Sheila. Dark Schneider really had a blast with her and she ate it up. In her defense, he did come on pretty strong with his antics, and I could kinda see why she would have feelings for Dark Schneider. I can even see why Archesnay would have feelings for him, as well as Yoko. But Sean Ari's and Kai's feelings for him are ridiculous. I mean, they're supposed to be loyal warriors and they have no sort of history or past with him at all. Unlike Yoko and unlike Archesnay. Now Yoko has a past with Lucent. Yoko practically cared for him and looked out for him. And as we all know, Archis was taken in by Dark Schneider when she was very young and they spent 100 years together. And in case anyone is wondering, what Dark Schneider did in his antics with women will not work in real life. It will earn you a slap and possibly a charge. But this man basically thinks he can do what he wants because he's handsome, and that's a dangerous man in more ways than one. Now, one other aspect I look for in anime is romance and how it's written. I mean, it's not unusual for the main character to have someone that he's into or someone that is into him. In this case, Tia Yoko is supposed to be his main love interest, but he's such a womanizer, it's like he'll throw himself onto anything and anyone. I'm surprised he even has a main love interest in the first place. I imagine a love interest wouldn't be something that's on the table for someone as disloyal as Dark Schneider. I'm not sure if I can even see him giving up his womanizing ways for her. I feel like since he's been doing what he wanted for like 400 years, his womanizing ways will be a hard habit to break. Nevertheless, I am curious to see how this will work out because I don't believe it's possible, to be honest, but I could be wrong. Now, just to kind of wrap things up, the plot is okay, the animation is great, and the fan service gets in the way of the fight sometimes, at least when it comes to the women, and thus makes it slightly annoying. I will admit that I like the concept of magic and wizards. I've always enjoyed that for some reason. Besides being a little predictable as far as Dark Schneider's antics go with women, it's actually not a bad anime overall. He's pretty fun and a bold protagonist, and I haven't seen a protagonist like him in a while, so that made him a bit interesting to watch. I mean, he certainly stands out. I don't think I'd watch it again or recommend it to anyone just yet, but it was definitely entertaining, I'll give it that. Maybe I'll feel differently about the second season, or maybe the manga puts it in a different league altogether, I'm not sure. But let me know what you thought about this anime down below. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Sierra Nova is out.